I'm one of the people that remembers, I remember a VCR, you know what I mean? Take a big cassette. You remember this? You did this.
Yeah.
You jam it in there. Sometimes it would come out, sometimes it wouldn't. You had to rewind it. That was not super long ago. Now, we're talking about just giving vibes to AI so that it knows what I'm doing, or it vibes with me and how I work. We are moving at an unbelievably fast pace, right? Tech-wise. Is this good, Harold?
It can be.
We are back here on Ready or Not, the podcast where we're trying to figure out, is your company ready or not? I, Nathan Macintosh, am not. Today I'm joined by Harald Kirschner.
Who's also not.
You're not ready?
I'm not ready.
Oh, man. I thought I was talking to a guy that was, in all seriousness.
I'll bring the wipes. That's what it is. We're going to make it live.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we're both not ready. But you are an engineer and an open source leader.
Yes, for a long time. That's how I got into tech.
Can I ask you, as a man who's really not ready, what is this? What is an open source leader? What do you do, Harold?
Since the beginning of how I got into coding, I always worked in open source. I always shared what I'm working on. I put it out in the open under a license that people can use and contribute and help me and give feedback. And that really drove a bunch of my career. People found me on the internet, oh, your project was really cool. You did this downloader page. Can you build something like that for us? This is how I got my first jobs. And then later on, really got larger and larger contracts, and then my first jobs just through the contacts I built in the open source community.
I don't know how. This is me personally. I wouldn't know how to code at all. I don't even know if I was to open a computer and if somebody said to me code, I would say no. So can I ask you? I just learned what this term is, or I just heard of this term for the first time right now. What is vibe coding? Where did this come from, by the way? Who decided that we need to vibe code AI?
So initially, it was a tweet that always gets quoted from Andrej Karpathy, who basically quoted this this is how I work now. I just talk to AI using voice input. I actually talk to AI using natural language. I never look at the code. I just look at click through what it just built, and if it feels right, and then I give feedback.
From AI or something else?
From AI, always AI.
Gotcha.
And then it's
vibe coding with the AI, and then getting the feedback from the AI.
Giving feedback to AI. So sometimes you want feedback from AI in a good developer flow, but this is really you in the driver's seat and just telling no, this logo is in the wrong place. But it's very UI focused. It's very functionality, kind of what product am I building? So that's the gist of it. But you never review the code. But you also don't ship to production. That's the other thing. When people did that, that's when vibe coding got the bad rep of oh, I did this app, it worked beautifully, I just used vibe coding, and then I shipped it, and then somehow my database got filled with weird stuff, and I'm paying so much money for something, I don't know why. So bad people ship software that they never knew how it actually worked fully. I fully understood what they shipped, and that those vibe coded, and that ended up in a bad place.
So vibe coding is you giving AI your vibe. Like the vibe of Harold.
Right. Yes. Or the AI, you controlling the AI through natural language, and then you not review the code, but it's all about, are the vibes right? Does it feel right what it produces? Does it answer in the right way? Does it feel like the AI is understanding what you were saying?
Yeah.
And is the thing it produces, does it feel right? It's does the code pass linting? Does it actually run tests? How much coverage does it have? Is there enough metrics when we ship it for observability, understand how stable and fast it is? You don't care about all of that. For vibes, it's just does the thing do what I want it to?
We're just vibing.
You're just vibing.
So wouldn't all talking to an AI be vibe coding? If I just talk to an AI, no matter what I said, I'm coding it with my vibe. And my vibe that day happened to be, I'm depressed, man. I'm sitting there and I'm like, should I take another Vicodin? And I ask AI what it would do, and it says, yeah, because I'm vibing.
That's the challenge with AI. If you tell AI, AI is so biased often, with all the recent news around kind of the problems with these chats, that they're too pleasing and really reply to yes, you're sure.
I could try to vibe a AI into being a party. What would a company have to do with vibes? How could a company get the vibes correct of its AI, and what would that even mean? What would they even be going for if that was the case?
Yeah, so let's look at three things where vibe coding or vibe engineering is used right now. So one, it's technical people who just want to build, who try out an idea. Like, I have this idea, I don't know how it would look like. And you have to, like, we're in the Silicon Valley. This is kind of the bread and butter of how you test ideas. Like, this is how you move fast. You just build something, you maybe hand it to people, like try this out. Does it solve your problem? Or are you excited? Like, how much would you pay for this? And you don't want to build a super amazing code base for this. You don't want to build production ready code. You just want to test an idea. And that could be from, even in a larger company, it could be just a design team or product manager. I have this idea for what our product should do. I just want to build it and have like a test balloon to see how far it flies.
Got you.
And that's where vibes are great. Like, this is not production ready code. This is code you can throw away at any time. And because you didn't spend any effort on it, there's no attachment. Like, there's no ownership. You don't own the code in any way.
Yeah.
And you could at any time recreate it by just kind of bring your idea back into the AI. And the code might look completely different. The product might look the same. So that's one area where vibes, where I talk to a lot of companies, and they do want this basically AI for prototyping, which is basically vibes, right?
Did you ever work a job where the manager wanted the vibes to be good, but you're like, buddy, this job sucks?
The vibe's good. Yes, I think that's many products you use, right? Many apps you open.
Yeah.
You might say they don't have good vibes, right?
Yeah.
There's no taste. It doesn't flow well. It doesn't like, if you're on a like slow network, it completely falls apart. And all these things kind of translate into good vibes. It's just a good product experience.
I'm one of the people that remembers, I remember a VCR, you know what I mean? Take a big cassette. You remember this? You did this.
Yeah.
You jam it in there. Sometimes it would come out, sometimes it wouldn't. You had to rewind it. That was not super long ago. Now we're talking about just giving vibes to AI so that it knows what I'm doing, or it vibes with me and how I work. We are moving at an unbelievably fast pace, right? Tech-wise. Is this good, Harald?
Is it good? It can be. I think it's about using it in the right places. Where I see people really excited is where you want to explore and learn faster. A lot of times when you ship a product in software, like, you're spending a lot of time, like, in the end on, like, is it secure? Can we deploy it? Can it scale to the amount of users we have? But in the beginning, you spend a lot of time on, like, are we actually solving the right problem? And then in the Bay Area, there's a lot of people just kind of vibe coding their ideas. Like, I have an idea, I'm non-technical, and AI tells me it's a great idea, but then you can actually build it and hand it to some people and see, like, oh, this is flying, or this is really falling flat. Nobody understands what this is supposed to do. And you can keep working on it. So non-technical people benefit the most from it, but even technical folks, because as soon as you're technical and you understand how it's actually supposed to work, then you can speed up a lot of your development workflow and explore more area with vibe coding too.
Is there a typical way that the vibe coding turns bad, or that a typical way that AI gets bad vibes?
So a lot of these best practices are caught in code review. They're caught in linting, where a program will look at your code and find that you're like, oh, there's a parameter coming in. Is it anywhere being checked? And then AI can also be a great partner for those security problems. If you ask AI to roast your code, some models, like, that's my usual, when I get a new model to test out, I always ask it to roast my code. And that's A, is it funny? It needs to be funny. It needs to be, it needs to be a good roast. But B, does it roast it in a productive way? Like, I want to have a productive roast that really finds problems I wasn't aware of and gives interesting solutions. So AI can be a really good critical thought partner if it's applied properly. But if you don't do that, if you just ask AI to write code, if you don't tell it to make sure it's production ready, secure code, it will write like the most generic solution, because that's what AI at the basis is. It's just repeating words it was trained with.
Yeah.
And it's like the average response. Like, if you ask to write code, it will not write code that follows best practices because it was trained on open source code that's all over the place in its kind of enterprise readiness.
So how could something like vibe coding AI, how is it possible for this to be like consistent and have good quality, or is it just a thing that needs to be managed all the time, like a party? You walk around every once in a while and check the vibes. Is that kind of what's going on?
I think so. There's existing engineering best practices for if a team wants to ship, like needs to ship a very secure product, they don't just depend on developers and tell everybody really need to ship secure code. That's your main responsibility, and then everybody will ship secure code. You have guardrails in place, right? You have locally as you work on code, it might point out you're not checking this variable. Like it could be anything, and you're putting it into a database, and that can be bad. So that's like the first line of defense. Like as people write code, you tell them like that's not a good pattern, that has a smell to it, and that's what helps developers already write good code. And then as you walk through, as you push it into a pull request where somebody reviews, there might be already more tools running that go deeper. So along the way, as software gets shipped, you have more and more guardrails in place that you end up with secure code. And then once you ship it, you have more metrics and observability and signals in place that tell you like if something happened that shouldn't be happening.
Okay.
So, and that's already what you do when you want to ship secure code.
If we were at a party and we're vibing, and then some psycho smashes his face into a cheese tray, he just gets thrown out. Yeah. There's no talking to him and being like, hey, man, don't do that. Why did you do that?
So the things with AI right now, to many people, it feels like AI is that guy at a party. Because most of the time, AI doesn't have memory. AI will keep having good in the face. You're like, you did it again.
Yeah.
I told you not to again. And that's the feeling that right now many people have. But I think over time, and we see this already happening now, this memory piece is the critical aspect of giving feedback to AI through code review. And then hopefully that guy doesn't come to the party anymore because he got uninvited, got on a list of like people to not invite next time. And that's, I think, what brings the vibes higher and the flow state longer for developers.
Would you say that parents are vibe coders, right, with their kids? Am I crazy to think that?
There's a big part of it. I mean, parenting, in a way, you don't know what you're doing, right? So there's definitely a big part of vibe coding of just, I'm going to talk to this kid and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's a lot of vibes. And you try to keep the vibes high, right?
Harald, I feel that you've done a great job of letting companies become more ready for this. I still have to sit down and figure out some things because I just learned about vibe coding right now, and here we are. I'm freaked out, but I'm happy that you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.